Yes.
Oh, simple. There's only one is blocked again, But the first one, I was able to get access to before. The earlier one you sent.
What are
But
they
the new one you
saying?
sent right now.
God, I've gone live,
They
sir.
said my mic is not working.
Welcome back to today's live section. And today we have a very interesting topic. And you know how we do it on this live. So today we are actually looking at, should comprehensive sexuality education be compulsory in secondary schools? So, do you think comprehensive sexuality education should be compulsory in secondary schools, or it should not be compulsory? So, stay tuned whilst we share the live, and I would get back to you. So, please help us share the live, help us invite your friends, your families, your foes, and let's do this together. Let's engage people. Let's have a conversation so we understand what we are doing, how we are going to do it. And whilst we wait for more people to join, so let's listen to this worship melody. Okay, welcome back again, and sorry for the break in transmission. I think we have um, a little network issues. So today we are looking at a beautiful subject. So it's actually a question. Do you think comprehensive sexuality education should be made compulsory in our secondary schools, in our high schools? And do you think if we've done something like that, the mistakes you made, will you be making it? So that's the question for us today. Do you think comprehensive sexuality education should be taught in our high schools? Do you object to it, or do you agree that yes, it should be taught in the high schools? Okay, so don't forget to leave your comments. Don't forget to leave your suggestions, and we will take it from there. So, um, let me welcome you back to the show today. So, welcome back once again, beautiful people, lovely family. Welcome back to this beautiful show. Welcome back to the show where we talk about HPV, where we talk about adolescent health and development. So, welcome back to the show. Today, we are stepping into a battlefield of beliefs, culture, politics, and the future of African youths. So, the questions sparkling arguments in homes, in schools, in churches, and parliaments is, should a comprehensive sexuality education be compulsory in secondary schools in Africa? Do you think a comprehensive sexuality education should be compulsory in the African setting? What do you think? What is your view? What do you have to say? Should a comprehensive sexuality education be compulsory in our African high schools? Do you agree? Do you disagree? So why don't you leave your comments in the comment section, and then we will take it from there. So this is not actually a very soft conversation everyone would like to have. In this kind of conversations, feelings get bruised, and opinions actually get crushed, and there's a lot of things. So opinions get crushed, feelings get bruised, but the honest truth is that young people are caught in the crossfire. So young people are caught in the crossfire. We are not holding back today. We are going to explore everything. You remember when you were in secondary school and then you live to regrets, and then you begin to ask yourself, the mistakes I made back in high school, if I were taught in detail, if I were given a curriculum, taught about comprehensive sexuality education, Will I make the mistakes I made? Will I be in this position I am in correctly? So the question still holds, should there be a comprehensive sexuality education in our schools in Africa? Do you think it's compulsory? Do you think it's something we need to look into? As Africans, as youths, what are the things you've done when it comes to secondary school, youthful exuberance? You remember all those things you do, high school. So your friend has a boyfriend, so you too, you want to have a boyfriend. You feel some type of way. You also want to feel some type of way. You have a lot of things going on for you, and then you feel a certain kind of way, but you didn't have you didn't have the what's it called, the guidelines, or what you need to do to ensure that whatever you're doing within that circle or how you feel is actually genuine, is actually what you should feel and what you should do. Nobody guided you in the right path. So I want to ask, what is actually your stand in one sentence? Do you think there should be a comprehensive sexuality education training in our schools, in our secondary schools in Africa right now? Yes or no? So, do you think there should be a comprehensive sexuality education training in our schools? Looking at the way the generation is going, do you think we should have a comprehensive sexuality education currently? What do you think we should do? I think personally we should have a comprehensive sexuality education. The reason being that a lot of our youths are exploring, a lot of our teenagers currently are actually exploring. So it's we are not going to shy away from the truth. We're not going to tell ourselves that it's not happening. It's actually happening. Whatever we think they are not doing, they are actually doing it. So because right now people say, when you talk about comprehensive sexuality education, you are attacking the African culture, you are attacking the African setting, you are attacking a lot of things that people believe in. But African teenagers are getting informations everywhere. African teenagers are getting informations from everywhere. They're getting it from TikTok, they're getting it from Instagram, they're getting it from some sexual content. So they're getting it everywhere. So let me ask you, are cultural objections really about protecting children or protecting adult discomforts? So, because people are attacking, people are saying, oh, if you give them a comprehensive sexuality education program, the teenagers will tend to explore. But look at the social media of today. Look at the social media. Look at TikTok. Look at Instagram. You're exposed to a lot of content as teenagers they are not supposed to be exposed to. So if you don't teach them the way, how, if you don't teach them the right way, how do you think they will know what is good from evil? Okay. So even the Holy Scripture says that you should train up a child and the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. So if you let society train your child for you, if you let society expose your child to a lot of sexual content, to a lot of these things, even their role models, you see a lot of it happening. If you let society expose your child, if you let society teach your child, society will teach your child in such a way that they think is right. And that would also affect the child's upbringing. Because I asked, are cultural objections really about protecting children or protecting adults' discomforts? So, do you think cultural objections, so when they say, oh, I object to, what is it called? I object to my students or my teenagers or my adolescents being taught about comprehensive sexuality education, not the one they do in biology and they tell you, oh, when you get to a certain stage, you're going to be seeing some certain type of hair, you're going to be seeing some growth, this is what you should do, this is what you should not do. So I'm asking, with all this we know about biology, if you had an in-depth of what a comprehensive sexuality education is, do you think you would have made the mistakes you made as a teenager? Do you think you would have done things better, like the mistakes you made, the errors you made, the people you hung out with, the relationship you encountered when you were in secondary school? Do you think if you had the details, the insight, would you have made those mistakes you made? No, you wouldn't. So if you've got questions, if you've got comments, please drop them in the comment section and we would continue. Okay. So right now, culture is not stopping teenage pregnancy. You would agree with me that the cultures we've set in, the boundaries we've set in, are not stopping teenage pregnancy at all. The teenagers are exploring, they are doing a lot of things. They are engaging in things that even you, as an adult, will not even think of doing. So the teenagers are engaging in a lot of things. They are doing a lot of things because right now, culture is not stopping sexual abuse. We've got monsters out there. Culture is not stopping misinformation. So tell me, is culture being used as a shield to avoid dealing with reality? Do you think culture is being used as a shield to avoid dealing with the reality or ground, to avoid dealing with the reality that these teenagers need help? These teenagers need to be taught what is right and how their body feel, because yes, you get to a certain stage in life that you begin to feel some certain type of way. So do you think these teenagers should be taught, or there should be a curriculum in the universities, there should be a curriculum in the high schools, in the secondary schools, that should contain everything about comprehensive sexuality education? No missing of words, no nothing. It should contain everything in it. Because I believe, or I think, that culture is being used as a shield to avoid dealing with reality. But does the culture cover these teenagers from abuse? Does this culture stop teenagers from having misinformation? It doesn't. That is the thing. It doesn't stop them. So people do what they want to do. People do crazy things, all in the name of they are trying to protect these teenagers from exploring. They're trying to protect these teenagers from knowing what is wrong and what is not wrong. But the truth of the matter is, the more you think you're trying to protect them, we are actually trying to protect our ego as adults, as Africans. That is what we are trying to do. So which one do you think is best? Do you think is actually best to educate these people about the pros and cons? Because in the Holy Scriptures, it says that it gives you life and death. And then, but it went ahead to advise you to choose life. So why don't you give them the information and let them choose? Let them choose what they want to choose. Let them do what they want to do. And you could just wait and see the outcome, rather than you thinking you're protecting the teenagers. Okay. So rather than you thinking you're supposed to be there for them, you're supposed to do things for them, but in the sense you are trying to protect your own ego. You're trying to make sure that, you, whatever you believe, whatever right you think you do, you believe, should be there, should be intact. That is what we are doing. It's not like we are doing anything. And then I have a question here. We're supposed to have our guest, but I think there's some network issues, so we'll just continue when we are able to sort it out, and then we'll bring him online. So I have a question here, and it says that is resistance to comprehensive sexuality education really about protecting children, or adults projecting their fears? And I think it's actually both. It's both because for many people, yeah, the objection is sincere. They worry about age appropriateness. So they worry about what you're exposing the child to, okay? They worry about um, parental rights. They worry about exposure to materials they find unsuitable. That is a genuine worry. You're not going to take that from people. It's a genuine worry. You have to worry, okay? If your child, you're 13, you're 10, you're 12, you're 15-year-old child is being exposed to those things, you have to worry as a parent, as a guardian, unless you don't really care or love that child. Now, but projection, what I want us to understand in today's life is that but projection plays a role too. Adults, sometimes react to their own discomforts. So we got taboos or anxieties about intercourse and gender and changing norms as well. So if there's an effective policy, what would it do? The effective policy would separate child safety concerns from arguments rooted in moral panic. So addressing each with evidence and dialogue, not just what we think we feel. Okay, it's not what we feel, but it's going to address each situation. And that is what the comprehensive sexuality education curriculum would do for us. So I have another interesting question here, and it's if teenage pregnancy and abuse rate stays high, should governments, override cultural objections for public health? So government actually have a duty to protect public health and children's right. It's actually a duty. It's not something that is negotiable. They have a duty to protect public health and children's rights. So when there's a strong evidence that an intervention like age appropriate comprehensive sexuality education substantially reduces harm, so what would the government do? The government would then are justified in prioritizing the child welfare. So they engage in community. So they need to use transparency evidence, engage in community, offer exemptions on phase rollouts where appropriate, and also ensure programs are culturally sensitive. So if we are able to engage in all these things, we will tend to reduce the rate of teenage pregnancy. We'll tend to reduce the rate of abuse that happens among teenagers. So, there's an interesting conversation. Adults believe or claim that if there's a book out there, or there's a manual out there, or there's a curriculum, or there's a course, just the same way we teach mathematics, we teach English, we teach chemistry, biology in the secondary schools, they claim that if we introduce the CSE, which is a comprehensive sexuality education, what will it do? It will corrupt kids will begin to see unfiltered comments. But let's be honest with ourselves. Okay, let's be honest with ourselves. Are the kids not seeing the unfiltered comments? Are the kids not seeing everything? They are seeing everything. Whether we want to be honest with ourselves, whether we want to tell ourselves the truth, or we want to lie. Okay, kids are seeing everything. Even when you take their phone and you try to turn on some features so they are not exposed to a lot of things, they tend to see everything that you don't even see. So what I understand from this is that the inconsistency often reflects a mismatch between control and exposure. So adults can limit formal education but feel less able to control online environments. So you could limit the formal education you give them in school, in classes, but are you able to control the online environment? Are you able to control the things they are exposed to? So if you're not able to control the things they are exposed to, then what is your sole aim in protecting the child? Okay, so what's your sole aim in protecting the child? So there's actually no sole aim in protecting the child. There's actually no sole aim in protecting the child. So this inconsistency often reflects a mismatch between control and exposure. So adults, like I said before, limit formal education, but what do? They feel less able to control. They feel less able to control online environments. So they are object to structured instructions that can influence. And we try to have this moral narratives around corruption. So we have this moral, oh, corruption, oh, this, oh, that. So we single out adult-led SE education because it makes, the topic explicit and legitimate in a way that unmoderated online content does not. So the question here is, if you're trying to now limit everything, limit information because you're trying to be civil, or you're trying to make sure that you're not engaging the kids, or you're not exposing the adolescents to a lot of things. But they are seeing it online. So what is the claim now? They are seeing it online. They can see everything online. And you think they don't have eyes? You think they don't want to explore? You think they don't feel a certain type of way when they start seeing a lot, doing a lot of things? They see that. So a most appropriate measure will be that will be that okay, is to acknowledge the reality of online exposure. So if we are able to acknowledge the reality of online exposure and offer more consistent approach or guideline, then we could help our children, we could help our teenagers, we could help our adolescents to interpret and evaluate what they see. So when you're able to give them the opportunity to evaluate and interpret what they see, then it becomes a useful tool. So, and some traditions persist out of habit rather than current reality. So it's a practice that if a practice increases harm, maybe there's a higher STI rate, unintended pregnancy, lack of consent education, then its continued use should be re-examined. Okay. Now, at the same time, there's a fast dismissal of all cultural or religious consents, which is counterproductive. So if we are able to combine the useful program, usually combine evidence-based comprehensive sexuality education program with respectful engagement of communities, of different communities. So what do? We adapt delivery without diluting essential protective contents. So, yeah, with all this said and done, morally, the truth of the matter is every parent have responsibility for their children's well-being. So, which includes reasonable attempts to prepare them for risk. Legally holding parents liable is often counterproductive, if you agree with me. So we need to ensure that even as we try to make sure that, oh, this child has a lot of education when it comes to about his adolescent development and reproductive health, we should also include counseling in our secondary school. Now, these adolescents currently, they've seen a lot, they've been exposed to a lot, they've seen even more than you can see. Okay. So if you're able to introduce counseling sections in the secondary schools within Africa and focus on school programs like a systemic prevention rather than living in denial that they are not being exposed to certain things, whilst they are being exposed to certain things. Okay, so if we are able to embed, if we are able to implant that in them, then we'll be able to preach accountability through prevention. We'll be able to preach accountability through prevention and support them rather than strict legal penalties, rather than saying, oh, don't do this. If you do this, you're going to remember when you're growing up, and then if you come from a very strict family, they would say, oh, if you try to cross a boy, you might get pregnant, or if a boy sees your undergarments, you might, all those things. You realize that you are not even being told a lot of things. You are not being exposed to a lot of things. You had the top information, but you didn't have everything. You didn't know anything. You were just there. You were not aware. You were not informed of the right things. You were not informed of how your body works. But we could change the narrative. We could help this younger generation. We could help them understand how it works, how everything works, how they should react in some certain ways. Okay, now it's not only the ladies that are part of this, both the boys and the girls. We need to stand up and train future generations where we'll be proud to say, aha, I was part of this teenager's life growing up. I was part of this teenager's life. Okay, so these are the things we should do. So if you've got questions, you could drop your questions and I'll take your questions. And then I have a very interesting question here. It says that, is the real issue here content of fear that educated young people will challenge the norm? So do you think is a real issue? So if you're just joining us, welcome. We are on this very interesting topic, and we're asking ourselves, should comprehensive sexuality education be compulsory in our secondary schools in Africa? Do you think it should be compulsory? Are you for yes or are you for no? Don't forget to share, like the live. Okay, we'll be done shortly. It's a 30-minute live and we'll be finishing soon. Okay, so some people, while they do not want to, let the CSE education program go viral, is out of fear, and I do not blame them. Okay, you're thinking, if I expose this child to this thing, how's the child going to react? If I expose this child to this thing, will I be doing the child more harm than good? That is perfect. That is human nature. You should think about that. You should be worried if you're not even thinking towards that direction. Now, what this CSE education will do is it will empower young people to question their roles. It will empower them to think about a lot of things, and also recognizing that you as a teacher, you as a lecturer, yeah, you are not only transmitting facts, but also social values help explain the intensity of opposition. So if we have policies in place to help boost, like Deborah said on the live, that she believes there should be to boost the individual morality. If we have these teachings in place, if it's compulsory to say, okay, A, B, C, D, E, yes, we need to do this, we need to do that, then it becomes a norm that even as you go through high school, you're being taught mathematics actually happens to be one of my favorite subjects. So you're being taught math, you're being taught stats, you're being taught algebra and further math and everything. Yeah, so you know that when you get to this certain stage in class, you will be taught about comprehensive sexuality education, so you know how to run around with it when all these um social threats, biological threats, everything begins to happen in your mind. You cannot, adolescents cannot escape it. Let's just be honest with ourselves. They won't escape that part. Okay, you as an adult, you're fully to recover from it, and you think they would escape it? No. So it should be something that should be made compulsory, so they learn from it, so they are aware. Okay, so if we have a lot of evidence and governments have a strong public health obligation to act, I think they should actually act fast. They should ensure that this is in the system. This comprehensive sexuality education we are talking about is there. Okay. So let's talk numbers now. Let's look at the public health aspect of it as a public health advocate and a rural health advocate and a public health person. So in many African countries, teenage pregnancy is not just high, it's exploding. If you agree with me that teenage pregnancy is not high right now, it's exploding. It's like fireworks. It's just exploding. You know, the fireworks during festive periods and everything, or when there's a celebration. Yeah. So it's just exploding. Boop, 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 boop. That's how it's exploding. Now, unsafe abortion is on the rise. Teenagers are engaging in careless, unsafe abortions. Some of them are even losing their uterus as a result of that. Are we talking about STI infections? Is rising among the teenagers, is rising among the adolescents. And abuse is hidden, but it's everywhere. Abuse are happening everywhere. Abuse are happening. So how do you now work on it? So if culture and tradition is not even able to protect the young people, is not able to be there for the young people when the time is needed, is not able to keep them safe, I think the government should step in and make this CSE compulsory, whether people like it or not. Whether people like it or not, because when it's being enforced, you see the way government enforced the HPV vaccination, you see the way government enforced seat belts whilst you're driving, even when people tend to not take it serious, but it's being enforced. So why is it that when it comes to sexual health or comprehensive sexuality education amongst teenagers, that is one everybody wants to scream, no, 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 no. So what's the double standard then? What's the double standard? They're engaging in it. Then how do you not protect the ones that are yet to engage in it if you don't teach them? If you try to mice what, like I said, growing up, if you had, there are some people that you hear when they talk now, they'll tell you, oh, my mommy said, if I do this, you're going to get, you don't even know how the process of getting pregnant, you don't even know the process, even when you were a teenager. When you were in secondary school, did your biology teacher do justice to that? Or your biology teacher just told you that, oh, as a woman, you've got fallopian tubes, you've got this, as a man, this is what you should experience when you get to a certain stage. They just give you the basis, but you do not have the in-depth of what you are supposed to have as a teenager. So those things are missing. So let's look at some religious leaders say that, oh, comprehensive sexuality education corrupts innocence. Do you think it corrupts innocence, or do you think it helps preserve innocence? So let's hear your comment. Do you think comprehensive sexuality education corrupts innocence, or do you think it helps preserve innocence? But critics fire back. I think when you're silent about something is what destroys innocence, not education. When you're silent about the right thing, when you're silent about something you think is the truth, it's what destroys it. Okay, it's what destroys it. And religious leaders have a lot of influence on the people, especially within the African context. So when they are able to shape this, or when they're able to teach it within their religious setting, you see that they try to prevent a lot of things. They try to prevent unsafe abortions. They try to prevent teenage pregnancy. They try to prevent our kids from getting into things they're not supposed to get into. So let me give you a story, a scenario. So I just want you to picture that. So let's talk, let's think. So let's get even more uncomfortable, yeah? So if a parent now refuses this CSE education for their child, and then that child now ends up pregnant at 15, or contracts an STI, or doesn't understand consent and gets abused. So do you think the parent should carry the responsibility? Yes or no? Who do you think should carry the responsibility? Is it the parent or the child? And also, if a government knows that this CSE saves life and still refuses to implement it? Is that negligence, or is it a political game to play with our children's future, our teenagers' future? So use the comment section. You drop your questions, you drop your comments, and we will be rounding up. So you drop your questions, your comments, we will be rounding up. Okay. So people say teachers are not trained. Fair. But training takes years. So should we wait another 10 years while teenagers keep getting pregnant and abused? Or do you think we should start implementing the comprehensive sexuality education and improve as we go by? And it's not like we are going to adopt whatever the Europeans are using. No, Africa is not Europe. Africa is not America. So our comprehensive sexuality education can be rewritten from the scratch to fit African realities, to fit the religions and cultural context. So I ask again using the comment section. So from everything we've talked about today, do you think a comprehensive sexuality education should be made compulsory in our schools, in our secondary schools, in our junior high schools, in our senior high schools? Do you think it should be made compulsory? So do you think it should be made compulsory? Okay, we're having some comments. Let's have them. Let's have them. Do you think it should be made compulsory? So we've gone through the fire today. So Renata said it's really important for this initiative to be introduced. So we've gone through the fire today. So Charity says, yes, for sure, it should be compulsory. And I think I agree with Charity and Renatus and Deborah that it should be compulsory. Let them know. Let them know and make their choices. Okay, it's better they know and make the choices than not knowing and make the wrong choices, or not knowing and fall into peer pressure. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely going to come with pros and cons. So if it comes with pros, if it comes with cons, which is okay, everything in this life has got its advantage and has got its disadvantage. So should we just keep quiet because we know it's going to come with the pros and cons, or not present it and let them choose their own pros and their own cons? So we've gone through fire today: culture, religion, public health, responsibility, politics. We've gone through a lot. So I've asked you again, and I'm going to ask you one more time. No dodging, no something, no diplomacy. Do you think comprehensive sexuality education should be compulsory in the secondary schools in Africa? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes, 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 or no, no, no. Yes, 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 or no, no, no. Yes, no, no, yes, yes, no. Okay, so Rita says it will help them to make rightful decisions. So that is a yes. So yes, no, yes, no, yes, 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 no, no, no. Let's have it. Yes, 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 no, no, no. Do you think compulsory? Yes, no, yes, no. Okay. So if you're listening right now, I know you feel the weight of this conversation. Okay. This is a very sensitive conversation. And it's not just theory, it's life, it's future, it's actually survival. And I just want to say thank you so much for being my guest, for stepping into the fire with us today. So let's read one more comment from DJ Kremik. He says that we shouldn't keep quiet because of the pros and cons, but we should be ready to handle them, especially the cons. After all, everything about sexuality is already over the internet. And I agree with you. Everything about it is already over the internet. They see it. It's not like you can hide it from them. It's there. Everybody sees it. They can even browse it. So if you take your phone and say you're doing parental guidance, parental lock, you put everything, you're trying to make sure to see what they watch or what, they are very smart. They can even maneuver what you've put on the system and try to get over it. And Rita says, yes, please, it should even start from the junior high school. Yes, it should start from there because these kids know a lot. They know a lot. Okay. So let's hear, let's help, let's appreciate, let's do things, because I am saying that we shouldn't keep quiet. I agree with DJ Kremik, I agree with Rita, I agree with Deborah, I agree with Renatus. We shouldn't keep quiet about the comprehensive sexuality education in Africa. We need to start singing it. We need the governments to implement it. Let's help reduce teenage pregnancy. Let's help reduce unsafe abortions among our teenagers. Think of it this way: they are the leaders of tomorrow. Okay, we tend to be a little bit selfish, yeah? So we tell ourselves we are training our own kids right. So our kids cannot do some certain type of thing. So our kids are protected. Our kids are this, our kids are that. I just laugh because, yeah, you train your child very well in the fear of God. You train your child very well to not explore and do all certain kind of things. What if your child meets a very careless one that does not have sense? Who is going to influence each other? So have you thought about that scenario? Have you played in your mind? Have you thought about it? So when you think about it that way, you will do things in a different way. So I want us to understand that Africans' future is not a silent topic at all. So never be afraid to ask questions about CSE. Never be afraid to make your comments. And we're supposed to have our beautiful guest today, but we will be bringing him back next week. And next week, we are going to be looking at a lot of things. Hello, Helena. Next week, we are going to be looking at a lot of things. We are going to talk about the adolescent development and HPV. Okay, so HPV concerns. HPV is not only for ladies. Oh, you see that boy that is doing, even your boo get it boo, they boo, they boo. That song, I don't know if you remember that song. Okay, it's a Nigerian song. Even your boo get it boo. So your boyfriend has a boyfriend, your girlfriend has a boyfriend. Okay, I'm not promoting whatever you think I'm promoting. No. But join us next week as we crack the topic on how the adolescent mind works, on how the teenage mind works. So if you have a teenager in your family, your niece, your nephew, your cousin, your child, I don't want you missing next week. We are going to break it down, we are going to crack it, and we are going to dissect the topic. Okay, so I will see you all next week, and I am truly sorry for being 14 minutes late. No, for being 30 minutes late to today's event. We start every Thursday at 6 p.m. So I will see you next week and enjoy the rest of your evening. I love you all. Bye bye.